This video is about famous Hollywood celebrities and people who passed away from 1st to 5th of January 2021 in the United States. Before we proceed, please subscribe to our channel to support us. Tanya Roberts, she was born in October 1949 and she died in January 2021. Her age was 71 at the time of her death, and the reason for her death was urinary tract infection. Tanya Roberts was an American actress and model, best known for her roles as Julie Rogers in the final season of Charlie's Angels, Stacey Sutton in the James Bond film A View to a Kill, and Midge Pinciotti on That 70s Show. Gregory Sierra, he was born in January 1937 and he died in January 2021. His age was 83 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was cancer. Gregory Sierra was an American actor known for his memorable supporting roles in several popular television series, including Detective Sergeant Chano Amango on Barney Miller, Julio Fuentes on Sanford and Son, and his recurring role on Miami Vice. Dominguez, he was born in August 1935 and he died in January 2021. His age was 85 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. Dominguez was a prominent American executive at Walt Disney Company, known for his long career that began as a teenager working at Disneyland. He later served as the park's first general manager and held key roles in Walt Disney's Imagineering. George Burie, he was born in February 1948 and he died in January 2021. His age was 72 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was brain aneurysm. George Burie was an American actor and singer-songwriter. As an actor, he appeared in numerous television shows and films, including recurring roles on The Squeeze and Miami Vice. He also released several acclaimed folk music albums. Misty Morgan, she was born in May 1945 and she died in January 2021. Her age was 75 at the time of her death, and the reason for her death was cancer. Misty Morgan was an American country music singer, best known as one half of the duo Jack Blanchard and Misty Morgan. They achieved widespread fame with their novelty hit song Tennessee Birdwalk in 1970. Paige Reaance, she was born in May 1929 and she died in January 2021. Her age was 91 at the time of her death, and the reason for her death was heart disease. Paige Reaance was an American magazine editor widely credited with transforming architectural digests into a highly influential and successful luxury design publication during her long tenure as editor-in-chief. Mary Katherine Bateson, she was born in December 1939 and she died in January 2021. Her age was 81 at the time of her death, and the reason for her death was brain damage. Mary Katherine Bateson was an American anthropologist, author, and educator known for her insightful writings on women's lives, learning, and cultural evolution. She was the daughter of prominent anthropologists Margaret Mead and Gregory Bateson. Eric Jerome Dicki was born in July 1961 and he died in January 2021. His age was 59 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was cancer. Eric Jerome Dicki was an American author known for his compelling and best-selling contemporary fiction, often exploring themes of love, relationships, and suspense within the African American community. He was a prolific writer with many New York Times bestsellers. Brewer, he was born in February 1937 and he died in January 2021. His age was 83 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was kidney disease and lung cancer. Brewer was an influential American playwright and director, pivotal figure in experimental theater. He was a co-founder of the renowned avant-garde theater company Mabou Mize. Kulpa, he was born in January 1953 and he died in January 2021. His age was 67 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was cancer. Kulpa was an American cartoonist and editor, recognized for his satirical work in publications like Cracked Magazine and Weekly World News, where he co-created the iconic Bat Boy character. Jerry Burger, he was born in June 1933 and he died in January 2021. His age was 87 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. Jerry Burger was an American gossip columnist and publicist, widely known for his Burger Beat column in St. Louis Post-Dispatch. where he covered local social and political happenings with a distinctive flair. Christina Crosby, she was born in September 1953 and she died in January 2021. Her age was 67 at the time of her death and the reason for her death was pancreatic cancer. Christina Crosby was an American scholar and writer, a professor at Wesleyan University. She was known for her work in 19th century British literature and disability studies, particularly her memoir A Body Undone. Patricia Crist, she was born in September 1939 and she died in January 2021. Her age was 81 at the time of her death and the reason for her death was undisclosed. Patricia Crist was an American businesswoman and philanthropist who co-founded Hospital Corporation of America HCA with her husband, Thomas F. Frist, Jr. She was a major benefactor in Nashville, Tennessee. C. George Burie, he was born in January 1952 and he died in January 2021. His age was 68 at the time of his death and the reason for his death was undisclosed. C. George Burie was an American psychologist and professor known for his work in personality theory and the history of psychology. He was also the inventor of the constructed language, lingua franca nova. Mike Reese, he was born in March 1978 and he died in January 2021. His age was 42 at the time of his death and the reason for his death were complications from COVID-19. Mike Reese was an American politician who served as a Republican member of the Pennsylvania House of Representatives. He was a rising figure in state politics and served as the House of Republican Caucus chairman. Gary Staples, he was born in January 1940 and he died in January 2021. His age was 80 at the time of his death and the reason for his death was cancer. Gary Staples was an American politician who served as a Republican member of the Mississippi House of Representatives. He was a long-serving representative known for his conservative principles. Pat Patrick, he was born in March 1929 and he died in January 2021. His age was 91 at the time of his death and the reason for his death was undisclosed. Pat Patrick was an American businessman and prominent figure in motorsports, best known as the co-owner of the successful IndyCar team, Patrick Racing, which won multiple championships and the Indy 500. George F. Frigus, he was born in October 1930 and he died in January 2021. His age was 90 at the time of his death and the reason for his death was undisclosed. George F. Frigus was an American Episcopal priest and activist who served as the rector of All Saints Church in Pasadena, California. He was a prominent voice for social justice and peace. James C. Renick, he was born in December 1948 and he died in January 2021. His age was 72 at the time of his death and the reason for his death was ALS. James C. Renick was an American academic administrator who served as chancellor for both the University of Michigan, Dearborn and the North Carolina A&T State University. Brad Cox, he was born in May 1944 and he died in January 2021. His age was 76 at the time of his death and the reason for his death was undisclosed. Brad Cox was an American computer scientist, widely recognized as the primary creator of the Objective-C programming language. His work significantly influenced the development of modern software and object-oriented programming. Sandra Hutchkins, she was born in March 1955 and she died in January 2021. Her age was 65 at the time of her death and the reason for her death was breast cancer. Sandra Hutchkins was an American law enforcement officer who served as a sheriff coroner of Orange County, California. She was the first woman to hold that position. Bernard P. Randolph, he was born in July 1933 and he died in January 2021. His age was 87 at the time of his death and the reason for his death was COVID-19. Bernard P. Randolph was a distinguished American Air Force general who made history as the first African-American four-star general in the United States Air Force to command a major command, the Air Force Systems Command. Ben Shaffen, he was born in May 1960 and he died in January 2021. His age was 60 at the time of his death and the reason for his death were complications from COVID-19. Ben Shaffen was an American farmer and politician who served as a Republican member of the Virginia State Senate. He was known for his advocacy for Southwest Virginia and his work in agriculture. Thelma Baker. She was born in April 1924 and she died in January 2021. Her age was 96 at the time of her death, and the reason for her death was COVID-19. Thelma Baker was an American educator and anthropologist on faculty of the Pennsylvania State University from 1970s until her retirement in 1986. Donald Perry Polski. He was born in September 1928 and he died in January 2021. His age was 92 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was COVID-19 and pneumonia. Donald Perry Polski was an American architect, recognized for his contributions in mid-century modern architecture. He was also credited as a pioneer of the design-build concept in the industry. George Whitmore. He was born in February 1931 and he died in January 2021. His age was 89 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death were complications from COVID-19. George Whitmore was a renowned American climber and conservationist, part of the legendary team that achieved the first ascent on the nose of El Capitan in Yosemite Valley. He later became an advocate for environmental protection. Carrie Dan. She was born in 1932 and she died in January 2021. Her age was 88 at the time of her death, and the reason for her death was undisclosed. Carrie Dan was a courageous Western Shoshone elder and land rights activist. Along her sister Mary, she became a prominent voice in the fight for indigenous land rights and sovereignty in Nevada. Floyd Little. He was born in July 1942 and he died in January 2021. His age was 78 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was cancer. Floyd Little was an American professional football player, a legendary running back for the Denver Broncos, and a member of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. He was known as a franchise for his impact on the team. Jonas Newbower. He was born in April 1981 and he died in January 2021. His age was 39 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was cardiac arrhythmia. Jonas Newbower was an American professional Tetris player, widely considered one of the greatest of all time. He was a 7-time classic Tetris world champion and a beloved figure in the gaming community. Don Solz. He was born in June 1919 and he died in January 2021. His age was 101 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. Don Solz was an American college football coach who served as the head coach for Jacksonville State University and Northeast Louisiana University, now the University of Louisiana Monroe. He had a long career in collegiate athletics. He was also a Second World War veteran and a Purple Heart recipient. Paul Westfall. He was born in November 1950 and he died in January 2021. His age was 70 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was brain cancer. Paul Westfall was an American professional basketball player and coach, a 5-time NBA All-Star known for his offensive prowess. After his playing career, he went on to coach several NBA teams, including the Phoenix Suns. Macker. He was born in March 1930 and he died in January 2021. His age was 90 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. Macker was an American professional baseball player who pitched in Major League Baseball for the Cincinnati Reds. He was known for his steady performance as a relief pitcher. Ronnie Burgess. He was born in March 1963 and he died in January 2021. His age was 57 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was cardiac arrest. Ronnie Burgess was an American professional football player who played as a defensive back for the Green Bay Packers in the NFL. He was known for his speed and athleticism. W.B. Park. He was born in June 1946 and he died in January 2021. His age was 79 at the time of his death, and the reason for his death was undisclosed. W.B. Park was an American cartoonist and illustrator, recognized for his unique artistic style and his contributions to numerous magazines and books. His work often featured whimsical and quirky characters. Thanks for watching the video. Please don't forget to subscribe to our channel. Have a nice day.